Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Ah, 'tis the season to talk money. Fa la 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 la. I'm Don McDonald. Very spacey this week. Very spacey. Maybe because of the new camera. The new digital camera.
Zoom in, zoom out. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Watch
Close
this.
your phone.
I just discovered it did this.
If you're watching at home, Don disappears and then reappears without any work panning himself.
This only works if you're watching Talking Real Money as a video cast on YouTube or at talkingrealmoney.com. You can watch it either place. Hi, everybody. I'm Don McDonald in the Talking Real Money studio in Florida. And then over there, or right there in front of you, depending on how this goes, is Mr. Tom Cock in the the Woodinville, Washington studio right there,
right.
Just down the street from all the wineries. And so if he seems a little off, you know, it's
I succumb more often to the cinnamon buns than the wine, as you know. So
yeah,
let's
and
leave it at
those
that.
malt bee cinnamon buns.
Exactly. My downfall.
We are so glad you joined us for this little holiday podcast. Now, we don't have a festive holiday podcast for you. No, not us.
Not even close.
Because once again, we're gonna slap around most of the financial advice industry in this country because they just continue to do their level best to keep you from knowing what you deserve to know. What are the things you deserve to know from your investment advice provider, your financial advisor? What things do you think you should know? How they manage their money, maybe? What else, Tom?
Now, how much they're going to charge you?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
How
one.
they're gonna
much
charge
they
you?
Charge. Okay, how they charge you, and are they always required to act in your best interest? Do they have conflicts of interest?
Simple
should know those
things
things.
we'd like to know. Yes.
Well, a long, long time ago, I can still remember. Something about music and playing. No,
In a place far away.
yeah, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Securities and Exchange Commission required registered investment advisors only to file very detailed disclosure documents called the Form ADV Part 2 brochure. This is a document that's supposed to be written in plain English. Yeah, good luck with that. And that is supposed to be short and concise. Yeah, good luck with that. Some firms are, 10, 12 pages. Others are 120 pages. Concise? So it was decided that that wasn't good enough. Let's come up with a new way to disclose important facts about the investment advisory firm you might be working with. And the SEC came up with Rule BI. Now, of course, rules like this are never created in a vacuum, and they're never created actually by the SEC. There are comments. And the brokerage industry has millions of dollars worth of professional commenters.
I think they're called lawyers.
Lawyers. That was the term I was looking for. Lawyers, yeah. And they comment like crazy. And of course, any good rule either gets killed or watered down because they don't want a rule to be good for you. They want these rules to be good for them. It's all about them making money, not you. Anything that stands in the way of their making money is bad. And thus it was that the new Form CRS was born. What was it, about a year ago?
No, longer, couple of years.
Couple of years.
Yeah.
See, time flies when you get old. CRS was supposed to disclose very simple things like, how do you invest? What investment services do you provide? I'm looking at one right here. What fees will I pay? What are your legal obligations to me? How do you make money? Things like that. Should be very simple. It really should. In fact, it's supposed to be a less than 2-page form. Well, and in plain English. Well, lately in the news, the SEC said, well, we're not happy with they're not in plain English. They weren't upset about the fact that they don't tell you anything?
It's how they're written, not what they're written.
Yeah, it's all about the language. Well, I can understand the language, but I read above a 7th grade level.
Not much.
I understand not much, 8. But simple things like, so what I did was I went to the Form ADV of one of the firms that they singled out as not writing in plain English. And that firm is one of our all-time favorites. They're right up there at the pinnacle of our list of people we talk about. You know, there's Edward Jones, who we like a lot better than these guys. And then there's probably bottom of the heap. In my opinion, the bottom of the heap. I mean, because they used to be multi-level marketing.
That's true. Good point. I always forget that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ameriprise.
Yeah.
Ameriprise. Now, Ameriprise, we've talked about them before, but I just want to read you a little bit of their Form CRS just so you can determine how clear you think the disclosure is. Like, for example, what fees will I pay? What do you expect that would say, Tom? What would that tell you?
You know, that might talk about the commissions they're going to charge or the percentage of they're going to charge on an asset or the planning fees or hourly fees, you know, some sort of specifics about how much they're going to charge.
You're saying basically it's going to have a number there somewhere, right?
Yeah, should. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, you know, like a nice number, like they put on prospectuses that say, if you invest $10,000, this much goes away.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you'd think that. Here's the what fees will I pay from the Ameriprise Form CRS. Yeah. For financial planning, you will either pay a fixed dollar amount or an asset-based fee for financial planning services. The amount will vary based on the complexity of your personal situation and the advice you are seeking. These fees may be paid monthly, annually, or quarterly. Do you really care when they're paid? The frequency with which they're paid?
Prefer to know how much.
Scrolling.
Come on. Really?
Know how much. Now, we just happen to know from reading their Form ADV Part 2 brochure, if you go way down like 40 pages to the fee section, it'll say the maximum fee we charge is 3% per year.
Please don't pay 3%. And maybe if you're really nice to them the first day you meet them, maybe they'll only charge you, 2.5 or something? Wow.
Now, the SEC suggested putting in questions, and it says things like questions to get the most out of your relationship with your advisor. It's in a little box. Here's a question you should ask your advisor at Ameriprise. You're going to love this one, Tom. You're supposed to ask them this. Okay. Help me understand how these fees and costs might affect my investments. If I give you $10,000 to invest, how much will go to fees and costs and how much will be invested for me? Why didn't they just put why didn't they put an A? Answer. We will charge you this much if you have this much, if you have this much, and this much if you have this much.
You want to know why I don't think they put it in there?
Of course I do.
I don't think they're very proud of what they charge.
Let's see. If I put $10,000 a year, just $10,000,
yep,
which you wouldn't accept, into your account, I will pay $300 a year for your services?
Yeah. That's just the management. That doesn't include the investments.
And that's not
either.
the mutual funds, right? So correct. Maybe I'm going to pay $400 a year?
Probably that.
How about, are you acting in my best interest? What does Ameriprise say about what are your legal obligations to me, the client? Well, when we provide a recommendation, as your broker-dealer or act as your investment advisor, well, this is kind of a lie, and this is what the SEC is letting them get away with. When we provide you with a recommendation as your broker-dealer or act as your investment advisor, we have to act in your best interest and not put your interests ahead of ours. Excuse me?
Really?
Actually, that's not true. only when you act as an investment advisor. And they go on to say that because they have a wiggle clause, the little wiggle words, the but. At the same time, the way we make money creates some conflicts with your interests because they charge commissions too.
Yeah, sure.
And they go on and they go on and they go on. And nowhere in here does it really tell you anything. As a matter of fact, it even says, and you have to put this in there. Do you or your financial professionals have a legal or disciplinary history? What do you think Ameriprise's answer is?
Wow.
You have to answer this question.
Yes, but in very small print.
Yes, but they have a but.
Yes, whereas.
Yes, but as in the case with most financial companies of our size,
yeah,
we and certain financial advisors have a disciplinary history on file. Wait, what's our disciplinary history with all the appellate offices all over the country?
0.00, sir.
Yeah, 0. Ameriprise. And they have
really say that. Like, they have an excuse for why they have.
They totally do. They totally do. And the fact of the matter is, another form does not solve the problem as long as the form refuses and the regulators refuse to hold the industry's feet to the fire and require. This is what needs to happen. And you won't do this because nobody gets upset enough about this kind of stuff. As investors, we need to go to the SEC and Congress people and the like and say, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. We don't need to be lied to anymore. In the interim, though, you're going to get lied to. So that means you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. We know that you don't like reading this stuff because it's foreign. It's complicated. It's just sort of confusing. It's boilerplate, right? I mean, it's, written by the attorneys to be the aforementioned confusing, etc. But my suggestion to everyone before you hire any firm is to at least read the CRS. That's the abbreviated version. That will give you some indication.
Hold on. Wait a minute. If you read the CRS of Ameriprise, you're going to get lied to.
What do they say in there?
Lies by omission. They don't tell you what the fees are.
Oh, okay.
They claim to be working in your best interests, except when we're not. That's one of the things I love best about these companies is they go, and we work in your best interest, except when we don't. And we're not going to tell you when we don't. You have to figure that out for yourself. Good luck.
That is a problem. Okay, we have another possible solution here.
All
we
right,
actually
good.
have a form that you developed that we think every advisor that you want to hire should sign. That form will require them to say, I will always act in your best interest, signature here. And by the way, if you take that to somebody at a major brokerage, they won't sign it. I think that should be a red flag for you. You'd be like, why wouldn't you? Oh, my manager won't let me or the attorney, the legal department. Those people always got a rule that I want. But okay, but aren't you always going to act in my best interest?
Of course I am.
Sure.
No, see, they can speak from the mouth.
Yeah.
You see,
that's what I was getting to. Writing.
Yeah. They can say things with their mouth. I remember being told when I was with Dean Witter, which is now was sucked up by Morgan Stanley. We were told to sell B and C share funds as no load funds.
Yeah.
No load funds.
Yeah, exactly.
No load funds.
All right, here's another suggestion.
All right.
Here's another one. Maybe this is easier. Do not hire. Do not consider hiring. Do not associate with a duly registered advisor. An advisor that is a registered investment advisor and also a broker-dealer. And by the way, that eliminates about 99%. Some
99%.
high percentage. If you go to the aforementioned Morgan Stanley, they are duly registered, right? They can still sell, and I see it all the time where people walk in and think, I'm getting a great financial advisor. What a great firm this is, Morgan Stanley. Look at that mahogany there. It's beautiful. And what, you guys got the Wayfair furniture? Come on.
We do too. We have actual authentic Wayfair furniture.
$4.99 available today. And then they say, oh, yeah, we forgot to mention, by the way, we've got this insurance. This just happened recently where somebody was at Morgan Stanley and they said, you need long-term care. We're going to roll you right into this policy. You sell the stuff? Oh, yeah, sure. Of course we do. Mm-hmm. And do you collect commission?
Now,
absolutely.
What happened at that point was they went from fiduciary
That's right.
to best interests.
Yep. Change the hat.
From fiduciary, from best interest to merely suitable. That's all.
Right.
The suitability standard.
But again, I think there's no reason to hire anyone who is duly registered, period. There really isn't. There's nothing you're missing. There's nothing they can offer that a really great registered investment advisor can't. And there are thousands of them, really great firms. And they custodian the money at major places like Charles Schwab, so your money is safe. There's no greater protection you get at working with a Morgan Stanley than you get by working with a firm. My door is opening
behind me.
Uh-oh.
I think my wife tried to sneak into the studio. We're recording. I see your hand.
I hope
everybody in America sees it.
I see it too. Is she duly registered, or is she acting in your best interest?
She used
bringing
to be
lunch
a
then.
Yeah,
I know she was. So those.
No, we already had lunch.
Those are three kind of easy things to at least start. And Don, you're right. Anybody can say anything. Get it in writing. Always get it in writing, because that's the only way you're going to have some protection. Period.
Yep, get it in writing. And go to talkingrealmoney.com/help. Talkingrealmoney.com/help. You'll find the advisor interview form right there. And by the way, Securities and Exchange Commission, if you'd like to use that as a template for future disclosure forms, hey, I give you permission. Go right ahead and use it. Hey, Tom, you want a question?
Yeah, quick. We've got a couple minutes here.
By the way, questions can be called in 24 hours a day at 855-935-TALK or sent in at talkingrealmoney.com like this one was. Yes. Hello, Tom and Don. Great to connect with you. I enjoy your podcast. I just heard you guys talking about the questions you should ask your financial advisor. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
But I've been with the same company. It's a comfy company. I've been with the same company, yeah, for 20 years. Oh my gosh, Tom, here it is in a nutshell. What you talked about. I have been with the same company for 20 years, and I don't want to offend or act like I'm accusing. So maybe you know if Edward Jones is a fiduciary.
I do know.
We have our money in an IRA and profit sharing with our own business. We don't have any employees, so we don't contribute to any employees. We'd love to know what you think about Edward Jones, because I'm uncomfortable asking those questions at this point. We have $1.4 million in money in our retirement.
Now, people don't know this, but I went to high school with Edward Jones, so I know a lot about him that you don't know.
You did not go to Edward Jones. Died a long time before you were in high school, I think.
Thank goodness for that. Edward Jones is not a 100% pure fiduciary. Not 100%. They are, as we mentioned previously, duly registered. Edward Jones primarily, not all, but primarily uses loaded products, commissions. They do a lot of stuff with the American funds, sell a lot of other products. I think you did rate Ameriprise lower than Edward Jones, so they're moving on.
Oh, I do, because Edward Jones' highest fee is like 1.5% a year.
That's
whereas Ameriprise
really?
is twice that. Yeah, Edward Jones has lowered their fees, but here's the thing, and this is for our correspondent. Do you have any mutual funds from the American Funds family?
Guarantee you do. Guarantee it.
Do you have any annuities? If you have any of the aforementioned, then at that point when they were selling you those funds, they were not acting as a fiduciary, because if they were acting as a fiduciary, they really would have to try and sell you a less expensive, similar product. And they can say all they want that we think they're better, but the reality is they've got to base those decisions on empirical evidence, not on how I feel.
And let's go back to that relationship, because when you have a 20-year relationship with anybody, that's hard to break. I get that. But here's the thing. This relationship is a business relationship. They're
Yeah,
going to
it's
want
not
to
a
be your
marriage.
friends. They're going to want to be your friends. I guarantee it. They consider you hey, how you doing? Here's a bottle of wine. Thanks for working with us this year. It's a friendship, but it shouldn't be. It truly should be a business relationship. You're not getting treated with 100% fiduciary advice. And my guess is you're paying excessive fees. My guess.
That's a really reasonable guess, because with $1.4 million with a fee-only advisor, you should be all in, including the cost of your mutual funds or ETFs, all in, probably at 80, 85 basis
75,
points
yeah,
max.
80. Yeah. You're
Max.
paying more than that at Jones.
I'm
Guaranteed.
confident. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet you're paying more than that just in the expense ratio of some of your mutual funds. You need
May
to
well
look.
be. Yeah.
Or
They are not
you
a
need to get in
fiduciary.
touch. You remember, if you want us to look at your accounts and tell you exactly what you're paying, and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to go to them. They're gonna like pitch me product or something. We don't do that. We don't pitch product to begin with, and we're not even going to try to sell you on our services. You can just go to Vestory.com and make an appointment with our firm, Vestory by Appella, meet with one of our advisors, and Tom and I, we promise you will not be subject to a high-pressure sales pitch. Promise.
No, I do some of the meetings myself because it's fun.
Tom does a lot of them himself.
I enjoy it.
And he likes doing them.
I
You know,
do.
you can send your statements in and he'll go, oh, you're paying that much on that much on that. You'll just get the truth. Well,
Heck, I might do some this week with the holiday because what else am I going to do, huh?
can you handle the truth?
You can't handle it. Great question.
All right. That was a great question. Fit right in. Thank
Yep.
you so much for being a part of this. We hope you have a great holiday or whatever period it is you're listening to this after the holidays, because podcasts, they just go on and on and on. They live forever, as Tom and I hope to do. So we can be here with you, talking real money.
Talking real money.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appella Capital, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. Are we done now?